You know how I know you're good at social media?
How?
I'm here with author Emily Belden. We're about to record Car Con Carne. Just before I got here, you on Twitter referenced Car Con Carne, said that you were going to do the podcast, and you CC'd Boost Mobile, the corporate sponsor of the podcast.
Always got to give a nod to them, right?
You CC'd the sponsor. That's never happened before. No one's been as savvy.
Got to do that.
Well done. Boost Mobile is the proud sponsor of Car Con Carne. Boost Mobile, I got to say, just this week, I very proudly went on boostmobile.com and put down my money for the new Samsung Galaxy S9, which I cannot wait to receive this week. And I did look around. The price on boostmobile.com, cheaper than Amazon, Best Buy, even on the Samsung site. So boostmobile.com, go get you some. Ready to do this?
Yeah.
It's Car Con Carne. Let's eat in the car. It's Car Con Carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
Okay, look at that. That's author Emily Belden. She's sitting in the front seat of my car. We are on Elston in front of, holy crap, I forgot the name of where we went. Potosi? El Potosi?
Sounds like a medical disease.
It does. El Potosi, which if you speak Spanish, you know it means the Potosi. Yeah, I don't know what it means. But we're here for, it's a cash-only place, which is always kind of dubious, isn't it?
I just scrounged for singles in the dryer before coming here. I found like two. I'm like, there we go. That's probably like a soda, maybe.
So we're at this taco place. It's right by, where are we by? That's Addison over there.
Yep, Addison, Elston, Kimball.
And so that's Grace over there, kind of in between Addison and Grace on Elston. And we're in there, and in the cooler, we're grabbing beverages to go along with our tacos tonight. There's the standard, the bottled water, a Diet Right, some Orange Crush, couple random bottles of Corona. I'm not sure they even have a liquor license.
Yeah, I don't know if that's for sale.
Yeah, that might just be for the owners. And then just like a sheet cake.
Yeah.
And like a flan.
One random Mexican Coca-Cola bottle.
Yes.
But it was frozen. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I did. So this is going to be a fascinating dinner. We're going to have some tacos here in a little bit. We are on Facebook Live, the Facebook live stream, courtesy of Boost Mobile, proud sponsor of Car Con Carne. And here we are. You, as an author, already, man, what a year you're having so far.
Yeah.
Hot Mess is the new book. Just came out in March.
20th, yep.
So I guess we should open tacos too. But before we dive into actual questions, give the proverbial elevator pitch for Hot Mess.
It's a book where my protagonist is a 20-something named Allie Simon. She finds herself working in social media, suddenly is entangled in a one-off conversation on Twitter with some up-and-coming hot bad boy chef who has a little bit of like a maybe drug issue, maybe here or there. She knows it's red flags all around, but somehow they meet up in real life, and the rest, as they say. She kind of falls under his spell and thrusts her into the cutthroat fine dining industry that we in Chicago know all about. The book takes place on Randolph Row.
Yeah, that swanky restaurant district.
Randolph Street in the West Loop. And essentially he coaxes her into investing all of her life savings into opening his first restaurant. But about a month before it's set to open, he relapses and dips off the radar. And so she's got two choices. One of them is to lose her entire investment or roll up her sleeves and basically figure this shit out herself. Oh, can I say that?
Yeah, it's a podcast.
Okay. And figure that out herself. And so that's the story. That's how it goes.
Love it. All right, we'll talk more about that. But first, tacos.
Yes,
as we talk about the locale
yes.
of Hot Mess, this couldn't be further removed from the Randolph Street
this is
dining.
the complete and total opposite of what goes on over there.
So now we got 4 tacos, 3 carne asada, 1, you get a chicken taco?
I got a chicken taco. How do you know what's what here?
That's what I'm leading up to. I don't know.
Oh. I know I did like the basic white girl thing and I added avocado. Oh, this is that one. This is mine.
This looks like it's a square.
This is a peanut butter and jelly. Oh, this is probably 2 tacos. You're 2 tacos.
Oh,
because
yes.
they're the same. I'm guessing. See, they're smarter than us.
I want to say hi to Allison who's watching, Katie who's watching, Ben Randall, Chef Ben Randall.
Oh, sorry about that, Ben, yeah.
He says, wait, is this book about me?
The character is named Benji, so if you go by that, just saying.
All right, so I got 2 carne asada. You got...
I got a carne asada, but I zhuzhed it up with some avocado and I think cheese.
What did you do with it?
Zhuzhed it?
You zhuzhed it?
Yeah.
That's the upgrade? That's Spanish for upgrade?
Yes.
Yeah.
Didn't you see that?
I did.
Zhuzh, 50 cents.
Okay, is yours as molten hot as mine is?
Yeah, it's a little bit.
I just
frightening.
scorched my fingerprints off my hands.
That's okay.
Uh-huh.
Also, I never noticed that tacos are wrapped in 2 tortillas.
Oh, yeah.
Is that a thing?
Oh, yeah.
Are you supposed to eat both?
Chef Ben Randall says, "Get the fuck out of town." Language, sir.
Ooh.
Here's the carne asada, holding it up to the phone camera. Again, this could be one giant risk about to enter my mouth.
That's okay. Isn't
Yeah.
that most of life's decisions?
It is most of life's decisions. So we're going to eat. This is something I probably didn't prepare you for, Emily.
What?
We're going to eat on camera.
Yeah, I don't care.
All right.
Eating is the most important thing about this.
That's right. So here we go. Dennis Buckley from 88 Fingers Louie is watching. Hello, Dennis. Your band fucking rules.
I need like a tablecloth.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. As long as you know.
Do you want salsa?
Do you just have salsa?
No.
I thought that was going to come from like the back.
No.
Yeah, I'll take salsa.
Yeah, I think it needs a little something. A little punch up, if you will.
Yeah.
On its own, maybe missing a little flavor.
Like the tomato piece of this pie.
The tomato piece of the pie. I got red. You want red?
I don't know. I don't want spicy. Not
This
like
is probably
too
spicy.
This is green.
This will probably make me cry.
This
you
is
think?
very spicy.
Try this.
But I'm also very weak with that, so maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, just do that.
That's really spicy. Oh, Dennis says, I have something in my teeth? Really?
This is really spicy.
They're both really spicy. Okay.
Woo!
We gave it a good shot.
Do you not do spice?
Well, I do spice for flavor, not for pain.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so...
I like it to a measured extent.
Right. Yeah, I hear that.
Oh, Dennis was kidding. Why do I even pay attention? So we're at El Potosi, is what Chef Randall was asking, which, of course, again, is Spanish for the Potosi. What do you think?
I think it needs tomato. A tomato-based product. But
A little bland.
it's a little bland, yeah.
That said, even a bad taco can make me happy. I put way too much salsa on before trying it, by the way.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
Do you need
Well-
Do you need a glass of milk?
I do, but instead I'm going to have a Diet Pepsi.
Okay.
I'm impressed they have Diet Pepsi. This strikes me as a place that would have Diet Right.
They had RC, which I think is the cousin of Diet Right.
It is. And Diet Right is really just one step above Faygo.
I guess, yes.
All right, so let's talk about your career
Okay.
as an author. You started as a blogger. Does anyone blog anymore? You don't.
No. The funny thing is that some of these people that, with my first book that came out 4 years ago, they were like, it was all about the blogging. We're going to do a blog about this. We're doing a blog roundup. We're doing a blog. And then this time around, when they pitched those same people that were bloggers, I'm like, oh, we don't blog anymore. But if you want, we'll post about it on Instagram for $1,000. So
That's a thing.
the way the world has changed has been pretty significant in that department.
I used to love blogging, and it just never occurs to me to even go down that road anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was all about WordPress back in the day. Now I think it's about that Medium website, which I'm not really even sure what that is. It's like once in a while, if you have a thought, that's where you go to.
My perception of Medium, it's a lot of people who are delusional to the point they believe they're more important than the rest of us.
That's where they go to hang out.
Yeah, hard pass on that one.
Yeah.
Kevin freaking Matthews is watching this. Kevin freaking Matthews, radio legend, is watching this.
The radio legend.
The radio legend.
Yeah.
Jeff Pizzotti, a freaking naked ray gun, is watching this.
That's amazing.
That's amazing. This is the greatest night of my life. You're here for the greatest night of my life. It's
I'm
because
glad.
of you. They're here for you.
Good.
Radio legend Kara Caribou is also watching. Thanks for watching, everybody. Johnny Iguana, notable musician, is watching. This is lovely. All right, so you started blogging.
Yep.
That first book.
Yeah.
I know you've told the story ad nauseum. I love this story because this is, I think, for anyone who is entrepreneurial or someone who's in the arts, this is kind of a model for how people should behave. Essentially, don't give up.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to be tenacious.
Tenacious, I think that is my biggest, I call it a habit, you know? I think that's my biggest habit is being tenacious. I've been like that since I was a little kid. Like, just it's something within me. I can't help it. It's frightening. But yeah, I mean, do you want me to go into how this happened? Should we spill the beans here? So, I'd written this book. I thought it was good, and I started to begin the pitching process because I wanted to, I'd spent so much time writing it that I wanted someone else to publish it and take it from there. But as anyone who knows, there's probably many aspiring writers out there. It's not easy. I mean, agents and publishers get queried all day and all night, and they see these things a million times a day. So what are you going to do to kind of like stick out, right? And so the process of pitching is very bland. It's like a 10-page Word document that you attach to an email and just like keep sending to people, basically. Right. So at the time, I made a website where I made like a digital version of my proposal, which at the time wasn't like if you think about it now, like, oh, big whoop, you made a website. But go back 4 years, like nobody was making interactive websites and things like that. So, this woman, I started pitching this out to agents and things like that. And then this writer from Forbes had contacted me and said she was doing an article about age-old industries and people doing like new cool things in them. Publishing, ancient, so super boring. She's like, oh, but this website that you made is really cool. And she's like, can I use it in my article? And I said, sure. This is Forbes? Yeah, of course. Go ahead. And she did that. And then the next day, like after going maybe a month and a half, 2 months of being rejected all the time, she puts this in Forbes, and like the coin had just flipped. I had agents in New York and LA and even in Chicago saying like, can we have the exclusive? Can we have this? I'm the assistant to the president. Can we see? I mean, it was
and suddenly you have to make hard choices.
Oh, then I had to do my due diligence for like a month and a half and be like, well, what do I want to do here?
Right.
Which it's so not typical, but then when I tell the story like that to some people, they're like, actually, it is pretty typical. Think about it. You worked really hard. You thought about things differently. And so you got a different than normal response. Like, why are you surprised? But to me, I just feel like, wow, how did that even happen?
Here's a question that applies to the first book, and it applies to Hot Mess. It applies to husband material coming up. How do you know when it's done? How do you know when it's ready to turn over to someone else? Do you look at the books you've already published and think, yeah, I could have changed this and that even after the fact?
No, not really. I mean, Hot Mess in particular wrote itself. The idea came to me, and it wasn't very long after that I put pen to paper. The first sentence flew off my fingertips, and I didn't need to sort of storyboard it out. A lot of people need to storyboard what's first chapter, what's second chapter, beginning, middle, end. I just let it roll, and I'd finish one chapter, and then I would make points about what I knew I needed to do the next time I opened my computer.
Do you write in a linear way? Do you start to finish, or do you kind of...
No, yeah, start to finish, totally. So, I kind of knew when I would finish, I knew what I had to do the next time, whether that be the next day or a couple days from then, like what I needed to accomplish next. And I just remember ending the last chapter, it was like, I'm famous for when I end any chapter, it's snappy. It's not just an end of a sentence. It's kind of like a nice bow on it. And I hit that part at the end, and it was simple. I'm not going to spoil the last line. It's simple. It's nothing super special, but it felt right. You know what I mean? It just felt like this book's done. Yeah, for sure.
All right, so what we're going to do, we're on Facebook Live. We're going to stop the Facebook Live feed. We're going to continue talking, and this interview in full will turn up on carquincarney.com. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I should mention Jeff Pizzotti from Naked Raygun. I just said he was on. We're talking about tenacity, never quitting. Jeff Pizzotti says never quit, ever.
Totally true.
Dude, Rat Patrol. Hell yeah. Tim Binder's watching. Thank you for watching, everybody. Listen to this on carquincarney.com. Thank you, Boost Mobile. All right, so I've moved on to taco number 2.
Okay.
Have you? Are you still
going right now?
All right, you're moving ahead.
Yep.
Right, here's the garbage bag. So, all right, jumping ahead.
Yeah.
From 86 to Hot Mess. You mentioned the protagonist.
Uh-huh.
How much of you is in her?
I mean, quite a bit. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. I think that, for starters, there's emotional things about her that are similar to me. She's extremely driven. She's extremely loyal. She loves, like, full on. Like, even if there's red flags or whatever, she's going to full on be all in, be super loyal.
Figure it out.
I think she's a very good example of being, like, a younger person that's adulting. I mean, she's in the book, she's 24. She pays her bills. She's in her first apartment. A lot of my friends at that age were not moved out of their parents' house yet, or they really weren't figuring it out. So I think she's got some of those things I mirrored off of my own life experiences. And then certainly, I'm 31 now, but I was 24 one day, and I thought it was a good idea to date bad boys, and had that phase myself. And I did date for a short period, kind of an up-and-coming bad boy chef with a here and there drug problem. So, in that regard, it set the tone for sort of the first third of the book, where she's, dating this guy. I mean, talking about addiction and things like that. You can't just wing that stuff,
Right.
And so a lot of people that have read it, the most common feedback I've been given so far, and keep in mind the book has only been out for about a month, is about the addiction angle. And like, wow, you nailed that. You just nailed that. So for me, that feels good to do. I know it's not an easy thing to do, but that's not something you just wing and think, I think it's like that. I think it's like that's how you
can't make it up.
No, you can't make that up. It's too big of a responsibility to be published at a level that I am with the publisher that I have and just wing something like that. So there's parts there that I based off of things that I went through myself, and those that know me and know that I did date someone like that a long time ago for a short period of time. I think it was probably pretty difficult for them to read because it was hard for them to separate at that point fact and fiction.
Well, and the character, Allie, falls for the charisma. And one thing that she learns that I guess we should all realize, addicts lie. That's a part of it. It's manipulative. Or the behavior is manipulative.
Yeah.
I can't even speak. Manipulative, and there are lies, and it's all about just keeping order.
Sure. I think anyone who knows an addict, whether it's someone in your family or someone you're dating, it doesn't really matter the relationship because the story is pretty much all the same. The qualities of them are pretty much all the same. They're all very lovable people. They're very smart. They're usually very talented. They usually have something about them, whether you're a cook or you're a musician or something about them that's very unique and sort of draws you in. But they are truly, truly like the master manipulator.
Yeah.
Even if you think you're smart, like I think I'm a smart person. I think I could, tell if someone was lying or whatnot. I think I could stand in for like Max on Catfish. I know my shit here, but I mean, you really don't when you're dealing with that. They're about 2 steps ahead of you at every point.
Depression is a part of the story. So is debt. That's just... I guess that's not specific to any age or situation. I guess that's something we all wrestle with.
A young person with money is a theme here that, there's so many people who I know that like live paycheck to paycheck. They don't have a lot of savings in this case. This girl has some savings. She's got 30 grand to her name before 25. She talks a little bit about the kind of the hard work, babysitting money or working at the local pizza shop money, just saved it all away, and it can happen. And then, you're thinking that you're going to use money like that someday for a down payment on a house or a car. And then something like this comes up. Some guy comes along, you're in love with him. He's your boyfriend. That's who you want to support. It's your other half. And they're asking for help fulfilling their dream. Like, how do you say no to that?
Are you a foodie?
I would say that I used to be a foodie. I think when I was younger, I was very into the scene.
Like knowing who's opening what
Yeah,
and where.
exactly. Being on top of it. I think, speaking of blogs, Eater was like my go-to. I would read every day, like, who's going where? What's the gossip here? What's the gossip there? Like, this place just opened. We need to go there. But I think I enjoyed it as sort of like a hobby. Like, what I liked really about
who doesn't like food?
Well, who doesn't like food? Some people are like, how do you eat that stuff? I just want a cheeseburger. And now I'm more of that camp than I was before. But I think at the time what it was I'm just genuinely impressed when people can be creative and bring something very original into the world and do something that I can't do. Because I can't cook, period. But I definitely can't cook like that. So to sit down and let somebody bring their craft to me is the same as me sitting down and giving them my book. Like, they couldn't write a book.
I get that.
You know what I'm saying? So I really appreciated that aspect of the foodie thing. But I think foodie has become this term now where it's like got this elitist flair to it. It's kind of annoying. And I always like press it.
It's kind of synonymous with douchebag at this point.
Exactly. And it's like foodie, you think like vegan, you think all this, like, I just can't with it. But what I always stress is that this book is not a foodie book. So if you're into foodie, yes, you'll love it. You'll follow along. You'll be like, oh, I think I know who she's talking about. I think I know where this place is.
Oh, Chicago looms large on this.
Yeah, people are gonna love that. But if you're not, you have to remember that my character went from working in social media to being forced into opening a restaurant on Randolph Street. So you're gonna go from she went from 0 to 100, and as a reader, you'll go from 0 to 100. So you're not going to be sitting there being like, I don't know what an amuse-bouche is. She didn't know what an amuse-bouche is. So you're going to learn as you go, and then it doesn't alienate anybody whether you're into the culture or you're not.
I just learned what an amuse-bouche was like 3 years ago. So, and I'm beyond my 20s and 30s. One thing that comes up a lot when people talk about your writing and your books, relatability. People feel like, yeah, you know what? I feel like it's almost like they like you're there. Like Emily is reading the book to them, or
Yeah.
I mean, you have such a pronounced or distinct voice in what you write,
Right.
and that's something that's a natural thing that can be honed, but that's hard. That's hard to get to.
That's something that I learned. I mean, I signed my first book deal before the age of 30. And everybody on that team, the editor, the acquisitions people, the sales people, the president, the vice president, I mean, everyone would say, you're such a voice-driven writer. Like, we don't have that. And I didn't even know what that meant. I mean, this is just the way that I write. But essentially it sounds like I just sat down with you and we like cracked a bottle of wine and I'm like, hang tight, I got a story for you. Right. It's not, and to me, it's not hard, but when I read other books and they don't sound like me, I just wonder, that's when I see it. I'm like, oh, I get what makes my writing different, because no other books sound like that. Because a lot of people think that voice-driven means you write and then you talk to your reader. You'll say something and you'll go, comma, you know what I mean? That's not voice-driven.
Right.
You're not having a conversation with the other person, really, literally. It's just something about your delivery that feels very authentic, which is why when they signed me for the book, I only had one book written, which was Hot Mess, which actually was originally called Randolph Street, FYI.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, Hot Mess is more, I get it.
Commercial.
Yeah.
But when they signed me for that deal, they were asking me, do you have anything else? And the truth of the matter was, I didn't. I have nothing. I just wrote this book. And my agent pulled me aside and was like, we're going to brainstorm right now. We're going to brainstorm a one-pager for an idea. We're going to tell them you have another idea, and we're going to...
Right, because that's the correct answer. If someone asks, do you have more? Well, yes, I do.
Well, she asked me first, agent, when between I'm like, no, I don't. She's like, okay, well, let's get a pen out and let's start brainstorming, because these people are very hot on your voice because it's so rare and they want more. So I gave them a one-page idea for the book that's to be called Husband Material, coming out next year. I don't have an elevator pitch right yet, so just heads up there. But I gave them a one-pager and they were like, yep, we'll snap that up too. So it really is, to your point, this thing that's pretty rare insofar as the books that people read.
When did you realize, okay, yeah, I can do this. I can write?
Truly, it's always been the only thing I'm good at. And I'll go to women's conferences and I'll say that. I'm like, it's the only thing I'm good at. And they're like, please, let's try to come up, women empowerment. I'm like, no, I'm being realistic. It's the only thing I'm good at. But ever since I was little, it would come through as very elaborate letters to the Tooth Fairy or very elaborate letters to Santa Claus. One time my dad was considering a Toyota Camry or an Oldsmobile, and I wrote him a persuasive essay about how I couldn't see him in an Oldsmobile. It was aging him. He is cooler than that.
Oh my God.
I wrote this narrative for him, and he got the Camry, which eventually was passed down to me as my first car.
Well
so
played.
Look how
Well
that
played.
happened.
Yeah.
But, so point being is it's always in me. And I was always writing weird short stories and, taking them. We had a publishing center in my elementary school. You could bring your short story and they would laminate it and bind it for you. And I was bringing short stories there every day for them. And they're like, oh, another one. I'm like, yeah, another one, and they would just be the most ridiculous things. So eventually that became I honed that a little bit and realized I had a way with words and a way with being that very voice-driven, very relatable. I mean, my readers that contact me have a lot of trouble accepting that these characters are not real life people. They're like, I just wish that I could be friends with them. I just wish.
That's amazing that they have that kind of relationship with things that came out of your head.
And to me as the writer, whenever I sit down and write, I don't sit down for 30 minutes. Oh, I have 30 minutes. I'll write real quick. No, I need 6 hours. I need to know I have multiple hours of uninterrupted time, because that's just how, I get in. So imagine writing these characters for 6 hours and then shutting your computer down, and then you have to go back to real life. For me, which sounds crazy, it's wait, these people aren't going to their co-ed soccer game tonight. They're not hanging, they're done. I shut the computer, so they're done. It's a weird feeling that they don't have lives that exist outside of the computer, because I know everything about them. Maybe I don't write every single detail in, but I feel like I would know what their favorite color was or what kind of music they listen to, and things that's how intimately I feel I know them. Crazy.
I want to go back to something I was mentioning earlier, the entrepreneurial spirit that I think is required to be successful as a writer in the arts. For someone listening who is a musician or a writer, they've got full-time jobs, they've got life commitments. You mentioned, I'm going to write for an hour a day.
Yeah.
For people who don't have 6 hours at a time, Is that a good idea? Just get in that daily discipline?
I think so. Because there are days where I should write every day and I don't. Sometimes a week will go by and I'm like, Jesus, So I think if you have that discipline, definitely do it. But for me, I remember, the time when I wrote 86, so my first stint at writing like a full-length manuscript, I was working an 8 to 5. I was trying to date everybody in Chicago. I worked, I went to the gym like everyone does every day. And I wouldn't get time with my computer to do this until like 9 p.m.
Yeah.
And then I would just put in the hours. Like I would go to bed at 2 a.m, at 3 a.m, and wake up and catch the bus in the morning of the next day. It just was what came with the territory. I knew that it wasn't going to be permanent. I knew like if I could do this for 3 months or 6 months, like I'll just do it. If the worst part is I'm tired, then I'm tired because I love what I'm actually doing and I don't regret it. It's not like I stayed up all night partying and I regret it the next morning. I'm like, wow, I stayed up all night writing and it was so awesome and cool and fun and I just felt like myself.
So we're talking about your voice and how relatable you are. Do you have friends in real life after reading your stuff who say, "Oh, you should totally make me a character in your book"? Like, do they try to insert themselves?
Yeah, some people do, and I'm just like, ugh, yeah. It's like there was a time, like 86 is autobiographical.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is about me trying to date around and like try to have it all and have no clue how to have it all, and. I was very young, like 23 and 24 during these years. And so, yeah, like I would go on a bad date and I would write that would be what that chapter was about and the lesson I learned from that.
Which, by the way, is every person's fear. That they go on a bad date and someone will write about it.
Yeah, they fear it, but they secretly also like kind of love it, I think. Like everyone's narcissistic. So they're like, oh, I'm immortalized in a book. Awesome. So I feel like there was some degree of that then. And it was like, it's like that is done and over with. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So like the guy that I'm dating now, I remember starting to date him and like one of his friends was like, be careful. She's going to write about you. And I'm like, like been there, done that. He'd be so lucky. Like it's not going to work out like that anymore. I moved on. I'm a fiction writer.
Yeah.
I write what I know still, but I'm very conscientious of like, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't write someone into something and destroy their life. That's not how I roll. So I think people have a skewed perception of what that whole thing is like.
Yeah.
And
oh my God, if there are people who roll like that,
bless it.
Yeah, that's despicable. So has Hollywood been sniffing around?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
What can you tell me?
So there's a comparable book called Sweet Bitter. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Mm-mm.
Foodie industry book, a little more heavy on the foodie side. But that just got picked up by Stars for a series. And so anyone who was in a bidding war with that didn't get that is knocking
They're looking for the next. Yeah. Oh, sure. That's how that works.
So they are knocking on my agent's door. And she is entertaining that right now. So there's been only 2 calls from my agent in my life that I could sense something in her voice was different. Like, and it was a good thing. And that was one when she called me about matching Hot Mess to the editor that signed it. Mm-hmm. She was like, hello. And normally it's like, hi. Like, I was like, ooh, this is good. And then a couple weeks ago, she called me about Hollywood and that she was working on a deal with doing something. I think it's going to be a TV series versus a movie.
Amazing. Which
I prefer because what I like about a TV series is that you do the season 1 of the book that it is now. And then season, let's assume that's successful. Then there's going to be season 2, which doesn't exist. That's a new lens for this idea. And I love that. Whereas a movie, it's just one and done. It's over. So I'm a big fan of that. I would love in my ideal world for it to not be like very serious. Like I don't want a Stars series.
Yeah, I get it.
You know what I want? I want like the CW where they have like some hot, dumb young people who are playing these characters, and you're just.
I want that too.
It's like so guilty, but you just love it and you want it and you just want to watch and it's just like eye candy, and it's just that's what I want. I want like Zac Efron from High School Musical days.
Oh my God.
Playing my characters.
I almost mentioned Zac Efron.
There you go. That's what I want. So in my perfect world, like that's like my pie in the sky, and I would love to write on the show, and then my agent knows that, and so it's not that I want to be in charge or anything. I just want to be part of it because that's a job I would want outside of writing books. I would want to write for any show. So if this is like my way into that, oh man, like bring it. I would love to just like assist with writing like one line of dialogue.
Emily, are you leading your best life ever right now?
I really am.
It clearly sounds that way.
Yeah. I mean, I can honestly say that. I was just in Mexico a few days before my book came out. I was a little like unplugged.
Yeah.
This shit's going to get crazy. And they had a water slide at the resort, but it was only in like the kids pool section, which they didn't clarify. But I'm like, I don't care. I'm still going down that water slide because I love water slides.
Well, water slides are awesome.
I went down it like 15 times and I'm just like, I am just sitting here living my best life. I'm in Mexico in this kiddie pool, going down this slide. There's no line, like also having a margarita.
Yep.
It was just perfect. Yeah, it was perfect.
Good for you. I love what you're doing. I think you're a terrific writer.
Thank you.
I'm really thrilled for what's happening right now and what seems to be happening next. And then Husband Material, is that supposed to come out next year?
Yeah, it's supposed to come out next year. I'm on
Holy
deadline for
crap.
it now. It's technically due tomorrow, but that's not going to happen.
Need any help with it?
I need a lot of help with it. I need a lot of help with it. But it's not what you think it's about. I can say that. It has some more grown-up themes to it.
I thought it was about animal husbandry. Is it not?
Did someone leak this already? This is crazy. No, but so yeah, it's. I mean, my first draft is due tomorrow, but it's. I need like probably a week or two more with it. So.
Which is still a short amount of time to.
Yeah, I mean, again though, it's like I'm right there at the end, right? So I need to bring it home, which is like arguably the most, gut wrenching part of writing a book, and I need like a good 6 hours a day of uninterrupted time, and that's the hardest part right now because I'm in the middle of publicity for the first book, so I'm like all in on Hot Mess, and then I have to be like, okay, shut that off, and then like get back to this crazy manuscript I'm writing.
Right, you're going from this very public mode to
yeah.
this very
Right,
private
and
mode.
they couldn't be more opposite. They're still voice driven. It's the same kind of relatable writing, but the premise and everything is so different. Locations, everything's different. So to switch gears into that is like just damn near impossible.
All right, so Amazon, brick and mortars everywhere. You can't miss Emily and her books. Support this author, support her work, and hopefully we'll see it on TV soon.
I would love that.
You're amazing. I'm sorry the tacos were kind of bland.
I'm still eating mine. It's doing it for me. So.
Here's the thing. I can complain about food all day long. I'll still finish it. I'll still make all gone.
Yeah, it's true.
All right. Thank you very much, Emily. This podcast brought to you by Boost Mobile, and thank you for listening. And if you like it, please tell a friend.